Alright, so yesterday I got something in the mail. Ordered this quite a while ago and we finally got it. And so I wanted to put a little video together so I can share with those that are still waiting for the shipment to come in what you can expect to receive. So here's the box. I've already taken it out of the box. And here we are. Weighs 33 pounds and it came charged about 75%. The instruction says to charge it to 100% before you start playing with it. So we did, and I tested out on a few things, and I wanted to share with you what I found out and things I'm still finding out. This is the first battery pack, solar generator, whatever you want to call it, that I've ever had or used. So I had a lot to learn, and a lot more to learn, I'm sure. One thing I already noticed and mentioned on the internet, somebody had questioned, how do you turn it on? Well, if you push the AC button, this display kicks on, but nothing else happens. To turn it on, to run your AC outlets, you have to hold AC button down, and then you hear your fan kick on and your inverter is running now, and then you can plug in some items and go from there. So here it shows 0 out. I have not figured out how to have it show input and output at the same time. It doesn't do that. When you're charging the unit from the AC plug in the back and have stuff running in the front, well, I can show you what that does, but I don't think you get the choice of switching back to input, output, and back again. It just gives you what it gives you, and you can't change it. But anyways, AC has a little light at the bottom of the screen here. You can turn the DC on. You have your USB and the carport. If you're looking at this video, I'm pretty sure you would be familiar with what we're talking about, the AllPowers Monster X. But if you're not, it's got the 4 USB A's on the bottom and the 2 USB C's on top here. Cigarette lighter, carb connection, 12 volt. It has the AC and DC buttons here with the 4 AC buttons on plugs on top. So let's put this to the test. I have a standard fan here. So if we run this, let's see. We got 80 watts, 78, 85 watts. I guess the display on the wattage is pretty accurate. I can't tell you for sure. I don't have a kilowatt little meter. But you can run several things here. I don't want to try to fill up all these ports, but you can. Let's see. That fan's working pretty well. Let's get a space heater going with it. Plug in our space heater. See what kind of damage we can do to this battery. On the low heat. Turn my fan off. Let's see, the medium heat with the second coil. And then if we put the small coil and the large coil together, you hear the fan kick on a little bit louder. Now you notice the fan was running as soon as I turned the AC power on, and then now it's running at the higher speed. And those are the only two speeds I can figure out how to get it to run. Having a large draw like this, now I say large, it's only 1366 watts. This thing can put out 2000 with a surge of 3000. So maybe there is a higher fan speed above 1500 watts. So I haven't tried it yet, haven't tested it to that extent, but this is the only two fan speeds that I've noticed. The low speed that we had earlier and this current speed. So it's not so loud, but you know, it's quiet enough, I guess. I've never compared other units, so I don't know how it works compared to others as far as the noise goes. But you hear the fan speed does turn down quite quickly as the draw is reduced. Now, with a weight of 33 pounds, this is not going to be difficult to take on a camping trip with the kids in the tent, and be able to charge your phones or little handheld consoles, or even for tailgating. You can run a TV. I ran my TV and the surround sound and a Nintendo Switch, and it was less than 200 watts from this. So in a power outage, you could run quite a while with just that setup. My refrigerator had a surge of, I don't know, 1700 watts, but then it dropped down to 200 running watts. So 200 watts, this thing it'll last you a while. With a capacity of 1700 watts, you know, it's got that 2000 running capacity, so it'll deplete in under an hour if you ran it for 2000 watts. It only has 1700 capacity. But if you're trying to run a refrigerator in a power outage condition, once that fridge starts, mine was only 200 watts running or less, so that's 8 hours. That's not bad. You know, that's a lot better than having to run my gas generator overnight. I'd rather run this and then have the refrigerator, you know, when that refrigerator shuts off, or not, I can charge this with that 400 watt input and a 200 additional watt solar, or get that barrel connector to a converter, to an adapter to the outlet, and have wall outlet charge 200 watts to here and 400 watts from the back. I'm charging this at 600 watts. And if my refrigerator only draws 200, I could run my gas generator a third of the time. Top this off, unplug my generator, save my gas, and then just use this as a middleman and not have the generator run constantly. So that was the logic for me buying this was in those power outage conditions, which don't happen often, but also for camping. Go tent camping, which, you know, you take this with you. You can run your fan on those warm evenings. Run a TV when the kids get bored. If you run out of toys to play with or games, and they just have to have those cartoons, you can plug a TV in here. Let them watch that for a while. A little distraction, so you can. But anyways, so we have these outlets, 4 of them here. But then DC. These DC powers, I don't even need a power brick. I can charge my phone right down with the plug and not have to worry about the power brick up here. take my power brick from my iPad, put that aside, save on my DC conversion to AC, and just go straight DC to DC. Charge my phone, charge my iPad. What else do we have here? My headphones. I've got all kinds of options here. Plenty of options here. Now I don't know if I can charge from this port, from the car port, but I do know that you can charge obviously from the input here for your solar panels. You've got the 400 watt AC plug in the back. It's a typical cord they give you back here. It's the same one you probably use for your computer monitor. These USB-C ports, only one, the one closest to the screen, is input output. So that's a USB-C power delivery. I can take this cord and plug it in. This phone just happens to be USB-C, so I can plug that cord here, and we'll use the brick from the iPad. And if I can stretch over here, we'll see what kind of power we get when I charge this. So let me unplug the other items here. And now it goes to input. Now with 93%, I'm probably not going to get the maximum input wattage available. So I'm showing 17 watts now. If this was lower, if this was maybe 50% capacity, the 17 watts might be closer to 25. I don't know. Right now it's 17, and it's the input. Now if I plug these items back in, let's see. Again, output, it defaults to output, so I can't see what my input is and my output. I can tell you that these headphones are not drawing more than what this battery is taking in, so this is not the subtraction. See, we're drawing in 17 watts. These headphones are not consuming 18. So this out is truly just the out. And you can't, I don't know where to switch that to show input versus output. I don't know where to change so I can show the input with other things plugged in. But it is what it is. So anyways, I can charge from this port, not this port. I don't know if I can charge from the car port up here. Maybe I can, I don't know. But we do have this option. It's an option I'll probably never use, but it's there just all the same. So that was not very clear when I ordered this, when I was shopping for it, looking at the website. There was a hint about it, there was some discussion, but the answer was not always clear. You had to look for it, and then even when you found that answer to this question, you really weren't sure if that was accurate. But anyways, it is. It does charge from the USB-C, and that's good to know. Anyways, I did run the Bluetooth setup on my phone. We can show you what that looks like later. You hold it down and the display comes on, and this on the phone app is where you can change your 60 Hertz to the 50 Hertz. It also has a indicator or a little toggle. You can tap on the icon and change and turn on the carport, the USB, the AC. But there's also one for light, which this has no light. You tap on the light indicator on the app, and nothing happens. I guess somebody got lazy and just didn't take that off the app from the previous product, the older Monster, the smaller version. So whatever. I would have figured it could turn the display on, and that could be a light. I don't know. Anyway, when you're charging this with the power cord, it does not, at least it has not given me 400 charging watts as advertised, but that may be because when I received it, it had 75% charge already, and I have not depleted it below 50% or even below 70%. So maybe at those lower charges, when it's 50% charge and you go to plug it in, you might get your 600 or your 400 watts AC input. Hopefully you do. Hopefully I do, because all I received was, I think, 380 when I plugged it in, and it slowly would that number would go down as the charge was coming in. So around 90% you started to see that number start to drop quicker, and at 100% I was still showing a charge 50 watts coming in before I just turned it off and got tired of waiting. I'll add in there where how long it took for me to go from 75 to 100% in the descriptions. I don't remember off the top of my head, but with 95%, let's plug it in and see what kind of numbers we get. Again, it only shows the watts out. I don't know where to change that. Maybe in the app, but we have to unplug everything, and then maybe I'll show us here. Maybe. Hey, look at there. I don't know why that required me to push the DC. But apparently that's the trick. If you want to show the input when you're charging it, because it's plugged in, you have to turn the DC off. Okay. Well, there you are. 329 at 95%. If my maximum is 400 watts and at 96% charge I'm still getting 327, that's not bad. But it'll slowly start dropping. This 300 number will start to drop pretty quick after 98, 99%. It'll start reducing that so it doesn't overcharge the battery, which is a good safety feature. I don't mind that at all. And the fact that I can get most of the charge at this high percentage means it's not going to take forever to go from 90 to 95%. So I appreciate that. As far as the build quality goes, these handles are sturdy. I mean, they're not metal. They're a plastic polymer of some sort, but they're firm. I mean, I can pick up the unit with one handle. I wouldn't do that on a regular basis, but it feels secure that you can do it if needed. It's a solid unit. The sides, the legs are firm. There's thinner plastic on the sides, well, really on the top, which is fine because you're not going to put a heavy object on here most likely. Laptop maybe is about all you're going to do. It doesn't twist, it doesn't rattle. It seems like a firm unit. I've never had any of the competitors, so I have nothing really to compare it to, but as far as expectations, it exceeds mine. The connections are tight, they're not loose. None of my AC cords or DC plugs wiggle or fall out or lose contact. So in that regard, they're fine. I can show you all of the accessories. It did give us these plugs and extra things. So let's go over that. One of the bigger extra items is the bag. Here it is. It's not leather. It's a plastic, but let's go ahead. Well, hold the button down. So the display is still on. These plugs are off, but it's still charging. AC is off. We go ahead and unplug that so we can put it in the bag. Let's compare that sound of the fan to just turning the AC inverter back on. So it seems to me that the fan running while I was charging it is at the higher fan speed. At idle or even with a low power draw on the AC, you get this lower fan speed, and then when you plug in the space heater, that'll kick the fan speed up just to be the same as when you're charging it. So I'm not sure why charging it at 300 watts input requires the same cooling requirements as drawing out 1000 watts. I don't know, but it does. You do have to hold the button a bit longer than you would expect. So let's try this bag. It does have a zipper in the corner to make putting it in a little bit easier, so I don't have to put it on like I'm putting a sock on. I have a corner that I can just set it in there. Oop, what, did I break it already? No. Zip this up. So there you are. And then just throw the cover on. It has 3 Velcro straps, one in the front, 2 on the sides by the handles, which I don't know how I'm supposed to work the handle with these, but maybe tuck this in and lift it like this, maybe. It's the only way I can think of. These are padded right here between the stitchings. So this is the bag it comes with. Seems to be fine. No pockets for it, and here's why I think it ought to have a pocket. The wires. All these extra wires. USB plug. Anderson cable to the barrel connector. We've got a barrel connector with alligator clips and the inline fuse. The MC4 connectors. This is the MC4 to the barrel connector, so I can plug it into my solar panels. Also, what do we have here? MC4 to the Anderson cable, Anderson connector with the MC4, so I can plug in 2 panels separately if I wanted. If I just had the 2 panels, I could run them separately and not have to worry about connecting them if I don't have that adapter. Barrel to barrel connector. I think this is the 5521 size. And if I open these up, the MC4 connectors are a bit thicker. I think it's a 14 gauge from the feel of it. Yeah. So your MC4 connectors are 14 gauge, while your other cables, the barrel connectors, well, not just the barrel connectors, but the cables that are not the MC4, all the others are 16 gauge. Now, they feel fine. The decent thickness. I don't know how long they'll last, but they seem, at first glance, at first impression, they seem like they'll last quite a while. But it would have been nice if that package, the bag for the unit, had a pocket for these cables. I haven't received the solar panels yet. Maybe I can work out a package, something with a pocket for those, so I don't lose all these little cables. I don't know, but I guess I'm supposed to keep them in this box in the meantime. Anyways, that's that. Oh, one thing to keep in mind when you do get your unit, you can expect to see a lot of Chinese. Not a problem. In fact, I thought it interesting. This is the first manual I've seen of anything I've ever owned where English was the last section. So that was interesting. One thing that will probably cause a little frustration for you is the app has a lot more Chinese in it than it probably needs, considering not everybody's speaking Chinese. So some of the notifications on the app just are in Chinese. I have no idea what it's supposed to be telling me, but it might be important. I don't know. There's room for improvement on the app, much more than the unit itself. I did notice on the location services of the app is required for the app to run on my phone. Why that's important for the location to be on, I don't know, but Bluetooth would not connect until I turned notifications preferences for the location to be available to the app. So that's something to take into consideration if you're really tight with your preferences, your phone app, having access to your contacts and your location and your files and whatnot. If you're really particular about that and your security on your phone, you might not like that requirement, but that is what they require. I couldn't see how I could get it to connect without having the location on. Otherwise, it seems to be a fine unit. It seems like something that'll work for me long term. I did take it to the camper. I did connect it. It ran everything. It started my air conditioner in the camper just fine. It'll run a microwave. It won't run a microwave and the air conditioner. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. If you're going to microwave something for 30 seconds or less, it might. Depends on how big that microwave is. My air conditioner was drawing about 1500 watts, so if you have a 1000 watt input on the microwave, it might work. With these cables, the bag, the solar panels, and this unit, I think we've got something on our hands here. It's a lot better than I expected. I'm glad I received it finally. The communications on arrival or expectations on when it to be delivered was lacking. But, you know, with enough patience, here we are. So hopefully you get yours soon, and I hope it works just as well for you as this has for me thus far. I don't know much about the longevity and the durability from the company, but I hope they've made some improvements versus the previous model, the smaller version, and I hope this is going to be a lot better than what I've read about that model. All in all, I'm excited to see what this has in store for me, and improving my time, whether it's during a blackout or camping or whatever, going to the beach maybe. You know, for van camping, I could really see the appeal to these. You're going to be able to run this in the van and power your TV, your computer, all your stuff for quite a while. And with the solar input of 200 watts, yeah, that could keep you going for a long time. As long as you have your electronics in check and you know exactly what you're spending on that, and your 200 watt input should be enough. In a lot of cases you'd be just fine, and this will have the reserves to cover that extra that you're using on those cloudy days or whatnot. You know, 1700 watt capacity, that'll last a pretty long while. Just don't abuse it or get too crazy, and I think we'll be just fine with this thing. I'm really happy with what I've seen, and if anything changes, I'll be sure to update the video. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks.